Dr. Kofi Dalrymple is a special person in the Guyanese Diaspora community living in Kansas City, Missouri for some time now with his family. Dr. Dalrymple, a biotechnology engineer and a PhD graduate from South Florida University, has been working for the past several years on groundbreaking technology to produce ethanol in an eco-friendly manner. A scientist specializing in microbial fermentation and reaction engineering, grew up in Stortville on the west coast of Demerara and attended the St. Stanislaus College in Georgetown. While ethanol can be found in alcoholic beverages, the industrial ethanol that Dr. Dalrymple specializes in is a grain alcohol that is mostly blended with gasoline and used in motor vehicles.
I started looking at using sunlight with certain inorganic catalysts to purify water and air. And then right after my PhD, I started looking at using algae or cyanobacteria. These are photosynthetic microorganisms that can do amazing things. They can clean wastewater, they can produce fuel. And so that's what got me into it. And then I started working for a company out in Florida, right in the Fort Myers area, that had developed this patented technology to make ethanol by just exposing these organisms to the sun and giving them some basic, what we would call fertilizer. And they weren't doing it with fresh water, so they weren't competing with drinking water, for example. They were using seawater. So the technology was attractive to me. And so I went and worked for them, and I started out as a scientist, helping to grow and develop technology platforms to make the ethanol. And then I moved into the engineering side where we were designing the containers, they call them bioreactors, that we were making the organisms in.
Dr. Dalrymple's interest in preserving the planet and ensuring that we minimize our carbon footprint began with his interest in Guyana's sea level rise. Born to a mother who is also an engineer, Dr. Dalrymple has a passion for climate change and feels that everyone should do their part to ensure we breathe cleaner air. He was directly responsible, along with a team of scientists from the world-class Alginol biotech company in Fort Myers, Florida, where the innovative and pioneering photosynthesis-like technology was formulated.
Very similar to how a plant works. The plant has a leaf, and the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right, goes into the leaf. The leaf sees some sunshine, and the roots of the plant soak up water and nutrients from the soil. And those meet, right? And then it makes fruits and the plants grow, right? So then it makes its own food and produces everything that you see on the plant. The algae is essentially doing the same thing. It's a small organism. You expose it to light. You give it carbon dioxide. It absorbs the carbon dioxide. It absorbs the sunlight. And then it also has nutrients that then it combines, and it has the genetic ability, it has the ability to then make ethanol from that process. So it's converting carbon dioxide into ethanol, and then the ethanol just comes out of the organism and stays in the container in which you're growing it. And then you can then pull the ethanol off later through a distillation process.
But Dr. Dalrymple didn't stop there. He has always had an interest in business, but due to his studies, this was placed on the back burner. However, while living in the States, it was here, out of need and lack of ready-to-eat Guyanese food, that the idea was born to make, package, and export dal puri for sale in U.S. supermarkets.
You'd move around different places, and you wish and you want Guyanese food, right? And so I started looking for it, but I could never find it. I could find Jamaican food. Sometimes I could find Trinidadian food, Indian food, Chinese, but you could just never find good Guyanese food. And as someone who believed that Guyanese food is one of the best, right? I sort of wanted to see, can I actually start packaging and selling Guyanese food? And we did. Dal puri is one of the first things. I had an aunt who makes great dal puri. We started working with her, packaging the dal puri, created a label, and start putting it together, got all the approvals, and we started producing it and selling it. As simple as that. We walked into stores, we showed them the product, they liked it, we put it on the shelves, people started buying it. It was a frozen, so it It was made fresh, then frozen, and then you just had to reheat it once you took it back home. And people love the product.
Dr. Dalrymple continues to utilize his personal experiences to bring about change in the Guyanese community. Following a year-long illness of his brother, who subsequently died earlier this year in Guyana, Dr. Dalrymple now has in the pipeline, along with a team of doctors in Guyana, to have preventative primary health care placed on the front burner.
You don't want a system that's based on getting sick so that then you go to the doctor. And I think that's one of the things that, just concerns me and other people, that you have a system that is based not on primary care, where you are going to see a doctor every year to ensure that you're healthy. There are folks who are waiting the last minute for an emergency, before you go to the doctor. And then often you find out, this could have been prevented had you seen a doctor maybe, a long time before. And so we started talking about how do we combat this challenge. And so we started to brainstorm really around some business ideas as to how we can introduce, a section in our healthcare, maybe a healthcare business that allows people to take charge of their health, right? Be able to have access to medical care, not only at the time of emergency, but throughout the year at a very affordable price. And they can do that not just with a primary care doctor, but any sort of medical doctor, whether it's a specialist or even a physical therapist or whatever the case might be. And so that these services are not out of reach for people. And so a group of us got together and we started talking about how we think we can make this happen. We hope to launch the idea and the business this year. Of course, with COVID, a lot of things have slowed down, but we are still in discussion about how we can roll this out, because we think that this will have a significant benefit for Guyanese in general.
With this report for the Guyanese Diaspora News, I'm Jennifer Jabbar.